The stage is set. We are here for the first round of Season 5 of Career Mode at the iconic and beautiful track of Albert Park, Australia. And everyone will be wondering if the defending world champion, Haydon Gullis, who made the switch from Force India to Red Bull, can he bring the performance he had at Force India to the team that have just dropped down a little bit in pace? And the big question is, will he defend his title and bring the Constructors' Championship home to Milton Keynes? The only team really changing over the winter period was Haas, as they brought some major upgrades for their drivers of Esteban Gutierrez and Roman Grosjean, and look to set their targets of getting to the top of the field and challenge for podiums and victories. In qualifying, the big shocks were coming from Q1, as Haydon Gullis made a very disastrous start to his season in Red Bull by qualifying in last place, but joining him were Felipe Massa of Williams, as just showing that Williams aren't up to speed just yet, but they are looking to make some big upgrades in the few races coming up. But also he was joined by Kimi Räikkönen of Ferrari and Lewis Hamilton out of Q1. But in Q3, in the big qualifying shootout for pole, it was an all Force India lockout as the returning Sergio Perez fought back valiantly against his teammate Hulkenberg, but it was the Hulkster who got pole position from Sergio Perez, with Daniel Ricciardo, Gullis' teammate, in P3, looks to showing that the Red Bull does have the pace on its day. Magnussen was in P4 for Renault, another impressive performance from him, and the two Haasers right behind him as well. But it is now time for the first round of Season 5 of Career Mode, and can Haydon pull through the field and get to the top where he always is? It's race time, guys. It's the Australian Grand Prix.
What is up, people? How are you all doing? And welcome back to part 85 of the F1 2016 Career Mode. It's the Australian Grand Prix. It's the start of Season 5. I hope you have all had a really good 2 weeks off since the end of Season 4. But we are here today, kickstarting the season. Hopefully, we can get off to a good start with this new team. Of course, I am driving for Red Bull. How do you feel about the new decision? New team, new start. Unfortunately, though, we've qualified right down at the back of the field. So, not the best start to the season so far. Valtteri Bottas just ahead of us in 16th place, but yeah, not the best start to the season. All the way down at the back of the field, and there, of course, is my old nemesis, Nico Hulkenberg, lining up in pole position. So before we get into today's race, let me run you through the starting order for the Australian Grand Prix. It's Nico Hulkenberg, my old teammate and rival, lining up in pole position, with Sergio Perez making a comeback, replacing me at Force India, lining up in P2. There's my teammate, Daniel Ricciardo, really good qualifying session there for him, qualifying in P3. Kevin Magnussen in P4. Then the two Haas drivers of P5 and P6. Very, very well done there, as they bring a couple of upgrades to today's race. Nico Rosberg qualifies in 7th, with Carlos Sainz in 8th, Danny Kvyat then in 9th, and Sebastian Vettel rounding out the top 10. There's Fernando Alonso, qualifies in 11th, Jolyon Palmer in 12th, with Jenson Button 13th, Pascal Wehrlein in 14th, Rio Haryanto in 15th, Valtteri Bottas 16th, Ericsson 17th, Lewis Hamilton down in 18th, with Raikkonen down in 19th as well, disappointing for those two drivers. Felipe Massa down 20th, Felipe Nasr in 21st, and then it is myself right down at the back of the grid after a really, really disappointing qualifying session. Just did not have the pace at the end of the day. Just really, really struggling with this car so far over one lap. So hopefully we can improve that as the season goes on. But that is your starting grid ahead of today's race. Let's head down to the track for the race strategy. So here is your race strategy for today, starting on the medium tyres, then pitting for the super softs, and hopefully that can be the strategy, the one-stop strategy to try and boost us and try and get us way up the field and score some points for our debut with Red Bull. But that is the race strategy. Let's head down to the track for the Australian Grand Prix. Here we go then, on the grid as the lights start to come on. Season 5 about to get underway. It's lights out and away we go for the Australian Grand Prix. Season 5 is definitely underway as we're going to go on the attack of Felipe Massa up the inside. But just look at the straight line speed that we have in this Red Bull. Completely different to what we had in the Force India. We put it down into lean just to take it cautious through turn 1 and turn 2. We go to the left-hand side of the Sauber. Can we make it through on the Ferrari as well? No, we can't. Just look, we just don't have any pace, especially down in lean mix. But here we go, up the inside, down in towards turn 3, up the inside of all these drivers side by side now with Felipe Massa. We've got Ericsson just ahead of us with Wehrlein and Bottas going side by side as they go through turn 4, trying it around the outside of Marcus Ericsson. We'll get the inside line into turn 5, but unfortunately we just have to back out of it and have to settle for P18 for the time being. But we will still go on the attack of Marcus Ericsson, possibly into the next couple of corners as well. We've now got a Williams or Felipe Massa very much on the back of us. We are still down in lean mixed fuel, so we do have to be aware of that. If we put up into rich mix, we may get a good run out of this corner, loose the back end ever so slightly, and a little bit more out of the exit of that left hander. I'm really, really struggling with the rear end on this car. It's something that's really, really annoying me at this stage of the start of the season. But going through the chicane now, there's a yellow flag out ahead of us. Not too sure what has gone on. Kevin Magnussen is out of the race. Safety car is being deployed. We nearly go back into Marcus Ericsson. And Daniel Ricciardo, my teammate, is also out of today's race, out of his home Grand Prix. Disappointment there for Daniel Ricciardo. Hopefully we get a better view of what's happened to my teammate. But safety car is deployed very early on in this race. This is really going to help us try and extend these tyres out to make the one-stop strategy work. So hopefully this can really help us in today's race. If anybody comes into pits now, though, who starts on the super soft tyres, they could get a really, really good jump. So there is somebody coming into pits right now, and that should put us up into P15, hopefully. Not too sure. Sergio Perez into the pits, the race leader. So I'm not too sure whether he got caught up with that as well. But let's have a look at replay of the start. This is on board with Daniel Ricciardo fighting Kevin Magnussen at the moment to go through turns 1 and 2. Still side by side between the two drivers. It looks like they were having quite a big battle for second place, for third place in this race. Of course, Daniel Ricciardo qualified in that third place with Kevin Magnussen qualifying in fourth. So both of those drivers trying to take it, still going side by side to go through turn 4. Can they hold it through turn 5 as well? They certainly try. Yes, they do. Daniel Ricciardo, they're getting caught out and has to give up the position to Kevin Magnussen. But we know that Daniel Ricciardo is quick, as he did manage to qualify up into P3. So let's just see what he can do through the next couple of corners. The two Force Indias, just look at that. Shooting off into the distance. They are so quick. We know how quick they are after driving for them over the previous 2 seasons. So we know how quick those two Force India cars. But I didn't think they'd be this quick in the opening round of Season 5. But side by side between Daniel Ricciardo and Kevin Magnussen as they go in towards the chicane. Still side by side. Daniel Ricciardo so fighty with Kevin Magnussen to go through this left-hander, no, right-hander, sorry. And they've gone into the barrier. So that is what caused the collision. Kevin Magnussen suck up the inside. Daniel Ricciardo around the outside. There was the slightest amount of contact. They just got caught on each other and unfortunately put each other out of the race. Hopefully we get a replay on board, which we do now. Daniel Ricciardo left-hand side in towards the left-right chicane. Have Kevin Magnussen on the right-hand side on the exit. Just gets a little touch of wheels there between the two drivers. Tries to hold it around the outside. Then just gets front wing caught on rear tyre. And that was enough to put them both into the wall. Daniel Ricciardo maybe was able to carry on, but the secondary contact with Kevin Magnussen unfortunately broke his front left tyres. We are watching on board with ourselves now here on lap 4 as the safety car has come in. Another driver has a problem with the car. I missed actually which driver that was, unfortunately, but hopefully it can be a driver ahead of us that can hold up the rest of the pack. Now we're going to have Sergio Perez right on our tail at the moment as we go down in towards turn 1. We know how fast those Force India cars are, so we're not going to fight him too much. He's gone up the inside. We're just going to allow him to take that position. And there you go, Sergio Perez. He takes 15th place away from us, unfortunately. But if he can go get Pascal Wehrlein, which he is going to try up the inside now, on Pascal Wehrlein and Marcus Ericsson, we can possibly take the position as well. We go up the inside of Pascal Wehrlein, up the inside turn 3, round the outside now of turn 4. Oh, a little bit of tyre banging between the two of us. Another bit of tyre banging as we lose the back end through turn 4. Up the inside turn 5 though, and we take away that position. So there we go, up into P15 at the moment with Sergio Perez, the driver, up next as he's battling with a couple of drivers. There's a bit of a train going on as we go in towards this next right-hander, still here on lap 5. Julian Palmer currently leading the train as he goes for a bit of a spin. And look at those reactions there. Oh my God, look at those reactions. Unfortunately, we do get an illegal overtake as the yellow flag was out, but that means we only have to give the position back to Valtteri Bottas. We go side by side now with Marcus Ericsson. A lot of positions gained still as we went up the inside. Julian Palmer, I think there was a Ferrari in there as well, and Sergio Perez. As we go side by side, Marcus Ericsson, I think another driver just came into the pits, which they did. Ericsson still on our left-hand side. We've got Sergio Perez on the right. We're going to brake early, so we get sandwiched. We then get hit into the back of, which puts us into Marcus Ericsson, have to go across the grass. The yellow flags come out. You're losing the back end, but a good save at the end of the day. And all of that hard work completely demolished after losing all those positions. Now we got hit straight into the back of, down in towards turn 1. Somebody hit us in the rear turn 1, which pushed us into Marcus Ericsson. And now we go side by side with Lewis Hamilton through turn 4 in towards turn 5. Now Massa and Ericsson go side by side over to the right hand side. We get past Ericsson. Can we get past Massa? No, we can't. A little bit of a touch there between my front wing and his rear. That means we have actually broken a bit of our front wing. But once again, really nice reactions as the yellow flags come out. I think there was a contact with Lewis Hamilton in the background, who actually went into the wall. I'm not too sure whether he's out of the race or not, but such good reactions in this race. I honestly can't describe what I was feeling at this time of actually doing this, as Julian Palmer goes up the inside of Fernando Alonso. He then just locks up and then just loses the back end. Then you'll just see me dart across, missing him by the slimmest of margins. Within a split second, I just had to throw it over to the right and get out of the way. This is on board with Kimi Räikkönen, so this is actually who went into the back of us. We did brake early, but it wasn't too early that it didn't give Kimi Räikkönen enough warning, so he just goes straight into the back of us, unfortunately. And then, unfortunately, we went straight across the grass and lost all the positions that we actually gained from those really good reactions. As we watch on board now with Lewis Hamilton, he goes side by side with us through turn 3, then through turn 4, and then in towards turn 5. We have Massa and Ericsson going side by side as well. He pushes Ericsson out wide. That gives me the position on Marcus Ericsson. We try to go for the overtake on Massa. Doesn't quite work first time, but it does work second time up the inside in towards that right-hander. And then Lewis Hamilton, as he goes for the overtake of Felipe Massa, just doesn't touch anybody at all. Puts himself into the barriers and actually puts himself out of the race. So not too sure what on earth Lewis Hamilton was thinking there, but he is out of today's race as DRS has been re-enabled after the safety car period. We've overtaken a few cars as they've come into the pits for a new set of tyres. As they come into the pits for their first stoppers, we've now got Nico Rosberg, going up the inside in towards turn 1. We take a little bit of an early break and try and go for the switchback, but unfortunately we just don't have the pace in this Red Bull car. So we're now going to get overtaken by Felipe Massa, who darts it up the inside. We're going to hold it around the outside of Massa. Can we go up the outside of Rosberg through turn 3? Unfortunately we can't. Maybe up the inside turn 4, side by side. Not quite again. Losing the back end. And I think Nico Rosberg is going to hold on through turn 5, nearly going straight into the back of the Mercedes drivers. We dart it up the inside. No, we don't at turn 6. Unfortunately, we don't get that position from Nico Rosberg. We have to give up on trying to get P9. But good battling so far in this Australian Grand Prix. A track where I definitely don't have the pace at the moment. That is really showing as we're now under pressure from Danny Kvyat, who's actually going to get the overtake done. We're going to have to hold it around the outside, though, of Felipe Massa now. So we're watching on board with Danny Kvyat trying to get past Pascal Wehrlein. We actually lose the back end as we go through that left-hander. Side by side with both Valtteri Bottas and Felipe Massa. We go around the outside. We lock up massively, but that actually helps us to get the position done on Valtteri Bottas and Felipe Massa. Valtteri Bottas still very much on our tail as we go through turn 5 now. Still right on the tail of my Red Bull car. He tries it around the outside. Can he make it stick? No, he can't. A little bit of contact between two of us side by side through turn 6. And once again, still holding on to this position. We are fighting as hard as we possibly can in this race right now. Valtteri Bottas very much on the back of us. We lock up through that right-hander in towards the long left-hander, down towards the left-right chicane. Can Valtteri Bottas do anything here? Side by side, once again, in towards the chicane. Can Valtteri Bottas hold it round the outside? He tries it, but not quite. He can't quite get the inside line, and we hold on to that position still. Valtteri Bottas, though, would have another good run down in towards this right hand. He's going to try it around the outside. Can he make it stick? We're going to force him out as wide as we possibly can, which we do. There's contact between the two Williams drivers. Valtteri Bottas off the circuit. And unfortunately, that is really disappointing there for Valtteri Bottas. The two Ferraris really far down the field, and the safety car has been deployed for the second time in this race. And that means we are going to be coming into the pits for our first pit stop in the race. Make sure that we get the car slowed down, which we do just in time for the line. And here we go, coming into the pits for our first and only pit stop, hopefully, in this race. We are going to be coming in for a new front wing as well, because the safety car is out, so we might as well do it now. We weren't actually going to do it if there wasn't a safety car, but I see the safety car has come out. It's given us an opportunity to get the front wing changed. We are going to lose a little bit more time, but a 6.9 second stop from Red Bull. That is still a really, really quick pit stop to get a new front wing as well. So we haven't lost too much time, only about 3 seconds as we go side by side with Wehrlein. Can we get the position? Unfortunately not, and we're just going to have to settle for P17 for the time being. But the guys ahead of us still have to make one more pit stop, and with the safety car being out at the moment, that could really help us try and get a good position in today's race. Could we possibly get onto the podium here today? We're just going to have to wait and see. As the safety cars come in, now we go up the inside of Kvyat and Pascal Wehrlein down in towards the final corner there. And that is a nice overtake up the inside. Nice dive bomb up the inside of both Pascal Wehrlein and Danny Kvyat. That puts us up into P11 on the edge of the points now, with more drivers still having to make pit stops in this race. We're right to the back of Marcus Ericsson, though, who isn't too much quicker than us in this race. I say that you know, the Red Bull should be a lot quicker than a Sauber in this race, but unfortunately I just don't have the pace. I'm going to admit that I just don't have the pace. As we go on the attack with Marcus Ericsson down towards turn 3, there's actually contact between myself and the manner of Pascal Wehrlein, and I did not know he was up the inside, even when racing this race live, I did not know was up the inside. I was too focused on trying to go for the overtake on Marcus Ericsson. I did not notice that Pascal Wehrlein threw up the inside down in towards this right-hander, and unfortunately there was the slightest amount of contact. I just sort of pinned him on the inside. I will have to take full blame, and I'm very, very lucky not to actually get a penalty in this race for taking him out there. But here we go, down in towards turn 1 up the inside now. Sorry, turn 3 up the inside of Marcus Ericsson. There we go, getting the job done. And that puts us right behind Felipe Massa. Currently running in P8. We've got Jolyon Palmer, or is that Kevin Magnussen, just ahead of them in P7. We have one of the Renaults, and it is Jolyon Palmer up in P7. Then Gutierrez ahead of him. And then it is Rio Haryanto holding up everybody in P5 as we sort of force our way up the inside in towards the penultimate corner on Felipe Massa, getting the job done and moving up into P8 for the time being. Down in towards turn 1 though. Will Felipe Massa come back at us? Down towards turn 1. Will he go to the inside line? No, he won't. And looks like we have held on to the position for the time being, which is really, really good news. We're watching on board. Esteban Gutierrez fighting with Jolyon Palmer at the moment. Jolyon Palmer goes up the inside, down in towards turn 3. They're going to be battling. That's going to hold each other up. That's going to allow me to catch up. And here we go on the right-hand side, round the outside of Esteban Gutierrez. Those two holding each other up. There's no way through for myself. I'm fighting with this Red Bull all the way through turn 4 and 5. And look at the reactions once again. Darting over to the right-hand side, getting the double overtake on Esteban Gutierrez and Jolyon Palmer through one corner. What an overtake that was. This is going to be the race of reactions. It's just been so good to see myself dart past these drivers from making mistakes. And there we go, up into P3 as some drivers come into the pits. We are doing really, really well. We are doing a solid job at the moment in this Australian Grand Prix. As another driver comes into the pits, that puts us up into P2 in this Australian Grand Prix, and we are holding on really well at the moment. Sergio Perez currently leading the way, but it doesn't look like we're going to be able to overtake him as he is on the one stop, I believe, as well. No, he's coming for another set of medium tyres, but there goes Jenson Button around the outside of turn 1. Unfortunately, just look at the pace that the McLaren driver has. So much quicker than we are down in towards turn 3. And Nico Hulkenberg around the outside. I'm going to defend as I possibly can against him. I do not want to lose this podium position, and unfortunately, just defend too much, brake too late in towards turn 3. Nico Hulkenberg says, thank you very much, see you later, goes for the switchback move and takes away that position. And now we are defending from Romain Grosjean, currently battling for P4 in this Australian Grand Prix. Goes around the outside in towards the chicane. He can hold it though on the inside. Can we hold it around the outside? We try it on Romain Grosjean. Unfortunately, it's not meant to be. And Carlos Sainz also darting up the inside through that right-hander in towards this right-hander into the last couple of corners of the lap now. Round the outside of Carlos Sainz. That's a really nice line, just showing us the downforce that is capable of this Red Bull car. Round the outside once again, inside line now in towards this left-hander, holding up the inside of Carlos Sainz. But there we go, holding position and maintaining and staying in front of Carlos Sainz and holding on to P5. We've got 3 laps left to go in this race, and that's 3 laps to try and hold on to P5. I've let some positions go. I do not want to let any more go as Nico Rosberg goes up the inside in towards turn 1. We push him over to the right-hand side as much as we possibly can. Then we go around the outside turn 1, inside of turn 2, and retake that position. But Nico Rosberg will be coming back at us down in towards turn 3. Looks like there's a Manor trying to get involved as well. We have to hold the inside line in towards turn 3, squeeze him out as much as we possibly can. And there we go, holding on for the time being through turn 4. Romain Grosjean still very much ahead of us, but we are still holding on to P5. Can we hold on to this position? If we can, that will be a fantastic result for myself. As Romain Grosjean said in the real-life 2016 Australian Grand Prix, that would be a win for me. That would be a win for me. If I can get 5th place in today's race, despite qualifying all the way down the back of the field, that would be a win. That would be an amazing result for myself in this Red Bull car. So watch on board Sergio Perez. He makes his debut in the Force India after having 2 years out. He wins today's Australian Grand Prix. Great result there for Sergio Perez to come back and get the victory here at the Australian Grand Prix. Jenson Button, I think, will come home for P2. And yes, he does. There goes Jenson Button, finishing today's race in P2 as we're going around the final couple of corners. Just look at the train that is behind us. Nico Hulkenberg finishes the race on the podium as well. It's a double podium once again for Force India, picking up where they left off in Season 4, with Romain Grosjean getting a fantastic P4 in this race. Round the final corner though, down towards the line. Can we get P5 in this race? Rio Haryanto pulls over to the right hand side. Have we done it? Have we beaten Rio Haryanto? Yes, we have, getting P5 at the end of the day, and that was just too close for comfort with Rio Haryanto just about getting P5. What a season opener that was. That has got to be the race of reactions. So many good overtakes, literally from split-second reactions, just literally pouncing on other drivers' mistakes, and I am so happy with how that race went. Qualifying down in 22nd position, I did not have the pace at this circuit, hence why I went for the one-stop strategy, and it worked. It worked an absolute treat. We managed to finish the race in P5, which is absolutely amazing. But Sergio Perez, he is today's race winner with Jenson Button. Really good result there for the McLaren driver, finishing in P2. Nico Hulkenberg in P3. Roman Grosjean up into P4, looking like the upgrades that Haas have made are working really well for that car. There we are, finishing in P5. Look at our fastest lap, 1:27. 3 seconds off Roman Grosjean and Jenson Button's time. That is not good enough. Rio Haryanto finishes today's race in 6th, with Nico Rosberg in 7th, Carlos Sainz in 8th, Jolyon Palmer 9th, and looky here, Marcus Ericsson gets a point in the first round of Season 5 for Sauber. That is a really good result for that team. Further down the field then, and Danny Kvyat finishes today's race in P11 with Pascal Wehrlein in 12th. Esteban Gutierrez finishes today's race in P13 with Kimi Räikkönen in 14th. There's Fernando Alonso in 15th. Not a good race for that McLaren, with Felipe Massa in 16th, Nasr in 17th, Valtteri Bottas 18th, Sebastian Vettel 1 lap down in 19th. Then we have the 3 drivers who did not finish today's race: Lewis Hamilton, Daniel Ricciardo, and of course Kevin Magnussen. Not too much to talk about in the driver standings at the moment, as it is exactly the same as the finished results of the Australian Grand Prix. We are there in P5. A good start to the season though, 10 points on the board, but it does look like it's going to be Force India all the way until we can start to make some serious upgrades. And that is starting to show with Sahara Force India on 40 points, nearly getting a 1-2 here today, and everybody else, I think every other team only had 1 driver scoring points here today. So it's going to be very close amongst the best of the rest. So we're going to try and get P2 in the Constructors Championship. We're just going to have to wait and see how that goes. But that is it for the season opener of Season 5. If you have enjoyed the episode, don't forget to smash that like button. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. Share this video with your friends. Also go and subscribe to my vlogging channel as well if you don't already know about that. But I will see you next time at the Bahrain Grand Prix. But until then, it's goodbye from me.